Hey everybody, it's Melissa and I just hopped off YouTube Live because one of my subscribers asked me to make a video on my top 5 favorite fragrances of all time. Shout out to Abid. I hope that I'm pronouncing your name right. But honestly, this list isn't going to be anything shocking because I've made so many videos about every single one of these fragrances. But for all of my newer subscribers and even for my older ones that have been with me on this journey and want to see if the list is what's exactly in your mind, then let me know. But also, if you want to pause this video and take a guess in the comment section, you can do that as well. Okay, I'll put any discount codes and links in the comment section if any apply, but buy where you're comfortable. You don't have to support the channel if you don't want to. All right, in the 5th spot is Tuxedo by YSL. Now, I recently made a video about Tuxedo. First of all, look at the dent of this fragrance, all right? I recently made a video on this scent because I don't really use it anymore. I was in love with how this was like a sweet, it was like this bourbon vanillic fragrance. And I was obsessed. I'm like, this thing smells so good, but it became so patchouli heavy on me as of recently. After I had COVID, like this fragrance, it's the only one that changed for the worse to my nose, right? And I was like, dang it. And I know that it says patchouli right there. It says like patchouli and spices. But I just never really got that heavy when I was really loving this scent. However, let me tell y'all this, okay? Because this was a gift from my ex and she got it on eBay, right? However, you might potentially hear me talk about Tuxedo again because I might be getting a bottle from YSL, potentially. So I'm going to be comparing, like if I do get that bottle, I will compare how it smells, how that one smells versus this one. Because if they kind of smell different to me, then you might hear me talking about Tuxedo again, you know? So this is the 5th place spot. And honestly, I got all the fragrances you're going to hear me talk about. Not only do I love them, but when I wear them around people, they love it even more than I do, which I didn't think was honestly that possible. But that's how I know, okay, these are bangers and these hit. You know, so Tuxedo is more of a masculine fragrance. All of these are going to lean more on the masculine side just because that's my preference. That's what I like to wear. Unisex masculine, but maybe I'll go a little bit more masculine. But I think Tuxedo was a good nighttime fragrance. If it's cold outside, don't be wearing this in the summertime. And I know I live where it's warm, but I would always have to, like, I threw this on a lot in the fall. The fall, winter, I was using it a lot when the sun goes down. I would not pull for this scent if it was hot outside, though there's better options for that. All right, in 4th place, speaking of it being hot outside, is Afternoon Swim by Louis Vuitton. And honestly, when I was looking at my fragrance collection, trying to pick the 5 fragrances that, you know, I loved of all time, right? You have to consider my whole entire fragrance journey. I was so close to picking, I think, Ombre Nuit over this one. Because I'm like, I do love Ombre Nuit. I loved that fragrance, right? But I think when Tuxedo came along, it dethroned Ombre Nuit. I wasn't using that one as much because Tuxedo was like that top spot. So I'm like, okay, if Tuxedo beat out that one, then like Afternoon Swim, also looking at the dent of this bottle, is just a great warm weather fragrance. It's very simple. And I know people hate on it because of its simplicity and its price point. But to me, sometimes less is more, and less can be better. When a fragrance is overcrowded and it's trying so hard to be complicated, those are things that only the niche heads love. The people that have a ton of fragrances and they don't really wear them, but they want to collect and they want to talk about it online, right? That I get. But for usability, this fragrance, I've worn it literally anytime, any place, anywhere, right? I've worn this in cold weather as well. I've worn it indoors versus outdoors. And the reactions were always the same. It's a sexy, fun summertime fragrance, but just like flirty, easygoing, and there's really nothing more to be said about it. Now, people don't like the performance of this fragrance, but I will say on myself, I still receive compliments on this scent 6 hours after I use it, 7 hours, sometimes even 8 hours. So it does stick on my skin. So if you're somebody that doesn't get performance, it also can be the fact that you don't really moisturize and stuff. I know a lot of people, they talk about things that don't perform, but their skin is ashy and they don't really clean themselves. and they expect the fragrance to last like that. So if you take care of yourself, you're going to notice that, like, hey, these fragrances are lasting a bit longer on me, you know? But again, it could be just a common thing with a majority of people that this doesn't last. But I love it. It's an orangey, fresh fragrance. Okay. Third place is Lenu de l'Homme by YSL. And Lenu is here just because it really started my fragrance journey. Everyone always asked me all the time on my lives, what was the scent that made you want to talk about fragrances or that got you into fragrances? And it's this one right here. Because I remember back in 2020, I think 2020, late 2020, I told myself, I was like, I am going to be the best smelling person out of everybody I know. It was as simple as that. So I was on TikTok or something and I saw some people talk about fragrances and there were some that caught my attention. So I moved over to YouTube to look at what people's lists were and, you know, individual reviews of certain fragrances. And I just kept seeing Lenu pop up in everybody's list of the sexiest fragrances. I kept seeing Lenu and I'm like, that thing, there's gotta be a reason, right? And I took a gamble and I blind bought it the same time that I blind bought Versace Eros. I got them both at the same time, but Eros arrived earlier. I liked it. It was sexy, but it wasn't me. A few days later when Lenu arrived, I remember I smelled it for the first time with my sister. I just sprayed it in the air and both her and I, our eyes went wide and we said, that's sexy. Like, I remember her saying, she's like, I'm salivating right now. That thing is so, she's like, that thing is so good. And I was like, it really is. This thing is real. So I just remember making it my signature. And when I told people that I was wearing it online, right, because I was sharing my experience, people were saying, oh no, it's a nighttime fragrance. It's a date night scent. You shouldn't be wearing it in the daytime. But I mean, it's a cardamom fragrance, so it has that spice. It has vetiver in the base. And I found it completely wearable in the weather I live in. And I'm talking, I was wearing it in between 70 to 78 degree weather with just like a white shirt. And it was just like the compliments were pulling with it. But even myself, when I'd just be driving and I'd be alone and I smell this thing in the air, I'm like, I'm falling in love right now. I'm falling in love with me. Okay, so Lenu, very special place in my heart. Like Afternoon Swim, this performs really well on me. I always give people the asterisk of like, hey guys, this doesn't have the best performance because I know generally speaking, that's the reputation. So I say that. And I always want to highlight the fact that I'm an outlier with this scent, or maybe the bottle I have performs really well, but I will still get complimented on this fragrance and I'll still smell it after 3 sprays on skin and clothes after 8 hours on me. It'll come in occasional like whiffs. And I remember I went to sleep wearing this fragrance maybe a couple months ago or a month ago. I did 3 sprays on myself and in the morning I still smelled it. So I was like, okay, it performs on me. I wasn't going nose blind to the scent. But I would just suggest if you are someone that has issues with the performance of the scent, then just get the bigger bottle and overspray it. Just overspray the fragrance, honestly. Or you can get a fragrance like Molecule 01 and then you can put Lenu on first and then spray Molecule 01 over it. That helps with the longevity as well. Doesn't turn it into a beast mode fragrance, but it helps with the longevity. All right, in second place, cue all the eye rolls. All right, Salt and Pepper by Precious Liquid. I think between Tuxedo and Salt and Pepper, these are the two fragrances that I probably did the most individual, like short TikToks, maybe reels about, because I'm like, y'all, this thing is so good. And I was running them into the ground to the point that people were getting so pissed off. And I was like, maybe I should kind of like step back with it. But I'm like, you know what? If I'm going to document if I like a fragrance or not. And Salt and Pepper is such a banger. And people are always kind of like iffy when they see it because they're like, oh, you have a code, that's why you're pushing it. But the real ones know that I was talking about this fragrance before the brand gave me a code, before they even knew who I was. So I'm just lucky that they wanted to give my followers a discount and stuff like that. And of course, if you want to support, you can use that. But I was riding for the scent before they even found out who I was and whatever, So Salt and Pepper was honestly something that didn't really impress me off the jump for the first 10 minutes of my wear time with this fragrance. I was just like, okay, it's a masculine fragrance, it's peppery. But as that dry down hit, just like I've said in so many videos, when I walked into that Subway, I didn't really care for the fragrance. But when I walked out of Subway, I'm talking about the food joint, and when I got in my car, I was like, this thing is so good, because my ex gave me a sample of it because she tried it and she's like, I need you to try this fragrance. It was that in Oud Symphony. It was Salt and Pepper Oud Symphony. And she says, I'm gonna send it to you. FaceTime me when you receive it so that I can see your reaction. So when I FaceTimed her, she saw that I was like, okay, like it's what it is. And she had this knowing smirk on her face. And she said, call me back after you come from Subway. She's like, just call me back and let me know. Actually, no, she didn't say that. She said with Oud Symphony, she's like, you have to let that sit. With Salt and Pepper, she already had that smirk that she was like, yeah, like, okay, right? But then when I walked out of Subway, I was the one that was like, I gotta FaceTime her. And then when I FaceTimed her, she already was like, it's hitting, huh? And I was like, this thing is so good. And she's like, I told you. She's like, I told you that thing is sexy. And she was just like going nuts about it, because when she smelled this on herself, she's like, this thing, she's like, I need you to wear this fragrance. It's taken me there. Like, this scent is so good. So my experience with Salt and Pepper, I went through about, maybe 2 to 3 samples, like the vials, like the bigger vials of it, before I got my hands on the actual bottle of the fragrance. And those are finished. And then look at this, and I still have other samples of the scent, but just look at the juice, right? It's slowly going down and down and down. But when I was wearing Salt and Pepper by myself, I was in love, right? But then when I also wore this just around women in general, both with women that I knew and when I would come across strangers, it was all love. Like, if I had to pick a fragrance that would bat at 100% when it comes to ladies' reactions, it's Salt and Pepper. And like the other ones, yes, they get good reactions and stuff, but this is like God tier in comparison to that. Again, when it comes to women's reactions, I highlight that every single time when it comes to women's reactions. And this is like in-person reactions, all right? I don't fluff up things for y'all on my videos to try to just push something or to be funny about like, oh, like these are gonna get your back broken, all that sort of stuff. I'm talking from experience. I'm talking from experience to y'all, all right? So Salt and Pepper, such a banger. I remember I told y'all the Costco story that I was in Costco. This lady followed me, asked me what I was wearing, and she's like, you smell so good. I need to get this for my boyfriend. She was in love with it. And also a lot of positive reviews from y'all that have purchased this fragrance and worn it in clubs or worn it on dates that are just telling me like, I love this scent and I was getting so much love and attention wearing this fragrance. The ladies were loving it, right? Again, only people that have had anything negative to say about this scent have been guys in my DMs that only wore it for like, didn't wear it around anybody or wore it around other guys, right? So again, if you're looking for a boxer dropper and if you're looking for a fragrance that will pull you a boyfriend, I mean, unless you're like a femme gay guy unless you're a guy that likes femme gay guys, then, stay away from this fragrance right here. But this one, to the feminine nose, super, super sexy. I love it. Number 1, is it really a surprise? Should I even cut? I can cut the video right here. Y'all look at this. Elysium, Raja Parfums. It's in that top spot because look at that juice, all right? When your bottle looks like this, I think dents don't lie, okay? When your bottle has a dent in it and you're telling people you like it, it's just like, you can't not believe that, because why else would it look like this? You know what I'm saying? So I could really just end the video here, but Elysium has been the fragrance that's been here longer than everything except La Nuit de l'Homme. And I remember this was my 3rd fragrance that Raja gifted me, because the first 2 they gave me were Oceania and Creation E. Loved Oceania, didn't really like, you heard in my life, I did not like Creation E or Enigma. And then the 3rd fragrance they gave was Elysium. They gave, was it called Oligarch at the time? And there was another scent. I'm blanking on it. I can't remember which one it was. But I was like, oh, this thing is good. And this was like my casual wear fragrance. This was my dumb reach fragrance. It's perfect for the weather I live in. It's warm. And this scent is, on me, a lemon cocktail sort of fragrance. It's like a fun vacation sort of scent. That's the vibe it brings. But note-wise, I believe it's a grapefruit fragrance. And there's another note. I think it's juniper berry. Grapefruit, juniper berry. people always ask me, they're like, is it too basic to get Elysium? Is it boring? And it's one of those things that it's gonna be boring to people that are like into niche fragrances, like niche heads that want complexity. You know, like these are the people that would willingly click on a video that says top 10 fragrances that get you compliments, and they'll be in the comment section saying, I don't wear fragrances for compliments, I wear it for me. And it's like, then why did you click on this video? Just to say that, you know, like they feel the need to show some sort of superiority, even though it's not superiority online, but nobody's impressed. You know what I'm saying? People just want to smell good at the end of the day. And this is a fragrance you wear if you just want to smell good at the end of the day. Now, the price point is upwards of $300 last time that I checked. And I'm sure on some discount sites you can get it for cheaper than that. But this thing right here, guys, girls, it did not matter. Whoever I wore it around, they were loving it. It was just a good fragrance. I told y'all the story of that party that I went to, and I had one too many drinks, and I was yakking, and there was like a group of people around me. Somebody was holding my hair back, and then somebody else went to literally smell my neck. And he's like, don't worry, Melissa, you still smell fucking good. That's what and I was just like, I remember in that moment, I said, this is gonna be a YouTube video. I was like, this, like, it's a core memory of mine now, especially in my fragrance journey. That memory always pops up. And I'm like, there is no damn way that this person said, you know what I'm saying? And I was like, I gotta tell my followers about this experience. So Elysium shows out every single time. It's a simple fragrance. That's really how it is. If you're somebody that wants to overcomplicate things, you're not really gonna like it. But if you're somebody that just wants to smell good, you want to smell like you want to be wearing a high quality fragrance that's gonna like boost your mood, then this is gonna be a good scent. Of course, if the price point is a bit steep, then try sampling it first before blind buying it, because if performance doesn't work for you, then you're gonna have regrets of the fact that you think that it's gone. Even though I will tell y'all, going nose blind to a fragrance is super common. I think whenever people say Elysium lasts 30 minutes, these are people that don't have a concept of going nose blind to a scent, because like I've told y'all, your nose stays on alert for dangerous smells around you, right? So it already is going to be used to the smell that you're wearing. So people take that as, oh, the fragrance completely fell off of me. But it's your nose knowing that, okay, we got to be on alert for other things. It's the same reason why with your eyes, you're not seeing your nose in your vision 24/7, even though it's there. Your eyes just block it out when you're looking at things. Because if it kept seeing that nose, it's just like, now you could probably, if you look for it, you'll see your nose in your line of vision. But throughout the day, it just like takes that little obstacle away. So with fragrances, for me, just be cautious, or just be aware that going nose blind is a common thing. And also just be aware that I was going to say something and slipped my mind. Well, for me, I like it when it pops in and out. If I were to smell something 24/7, or like for the whole 8 hours and nothing else, and I just smelled that, I would be going nuts. All right. So just keep that in mind. And another thing to note about Raja, and whenever I talk about Elysium and they see my reviews on Elysium, people are automatically like, it's because you got that bottle for free. That's why you're talking about it. It's because you got it for free. Everything's a 10 out of 10 when you get it for free. And I think the real ones know that it does not matter if I'm gifted a fragrance, whatever the case is. I keep it very real with you, because if I love Elysium, but then I say that I hate Creation E and I got them both for free, what does that mean? You know what I'm saying? So like, I'll get that comment, or I'll get people saying that like, what is it? They're like, oh, if I talk honest about like their fragrance Apex that I didn't like, and they're like, oh, now you're going to get blacklisted. You're never going to receive a fragrance from them. And then the next week they send me Elysium Intense, you know? So I always love brands that are open to having transparent, honest opinions, because when you're in this game, you have to know that having a subjective opinion is very common. And I'll have people like that get really butthurt when I don't like their fragrance. For example, the Mall EDT, I just talked about that scent, and somebody was like, how could you? I'm unsubscribing. This is a great fragrance, blah, blah, blah. It's like, y'all, just chill. Just chill. Again, this video is about my top 5. my top 5 favorite fragrances. It's not about the top 5 scents I'm going to try to share for you. It's about this is what I rock with. You continue to wear what you like, all right? But anyways, there it is in the comment section. Let me know, 1, how long you've been in the fragrance game for, and 2, what your top 5 scents are, all right? I hope you all have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care. Bye.